This is an Electro machine. It's an Electro drum machine. No, really, it is. Most Electro tracks today, and by the way, it's good to see a bit of a resurgence in Electro. I'm hearing mostly 808 and I think the 606, that kind of sound. But back in the mid-80s, when this was around, and the Oberheim DMX, and also the Sequential drum tracks, same company, this one's the Tom, all those 12-bit PCM sampled drum machines were used a lot in Electro stuff. And I think the reason that today most of what I hear is using the 808, which is great by the way, it's probably down to the track Clear, probably the most famous Electro track, Juan Atkins. Great track by the way, check it out on YouTube, and it uses the 808. But I think people maybe don't realise how much this particular drum machine, the Oberheim, the drum tracks, and a few others, I think the Korg DD1 or something, a lot of these drum machines were used in Electro stuff. Now, what I must point out about Electro back in the day, there was this break dancing, street dancing thing where the music seemed to be a vehicle for that. Unfortunately, the Electro got really cheesy, and it all started to be like dogs barking and silly little noises, and every one bar was a sort of exercise in how many drum sounds can we get in that one bar. And even as a kid, I kind of thought it was cheesy, and the odd time I would hear something that wasn't kind of mega ched, my ears would perk up, and I was pretty young then, you know, when I first started hearing this. I didn't like the dancing thing. Even then, I thought it cheapened the music. But of course, the lowest common denominator comes in, and the hordes of producers started making this really cheesy Electro, which I think kind of effectively killed it off. But if you peeled back the surface, there was a lot of credible stuff going around that wasn't really getting the attention. And I think some of that stuff is being referred to nowadays for producers that are making Electro. I've always liked Electro. I didn't really make much records. I worked with some people who made a couple of Electro influenced, techno-y, vibey sort of tracks in the mid-90s, but it was kind of like the B2, we'd put it on the B2 of an EP. Anyway, I was going to do like a sort of go into the features of this drum machine. However, I just found a video that was created in April, which is actually pretty good. I'm going to link to that in the description, and do refer to that video if you want to find out a lot more about the features, because this thing for its day, it had some quite advanced features which are kind of very useful today. When you bought this drum machine back in the day, you got stock, it came with this. Okay? Well used in tons and tons of records, these particular sounds. Very similar to Lindrum, the DMX, and the drum tracks. We all kind of have that kind of clap anyway. With this one, you could insert cartridges, which was kind of unique because it basically doubled up the amount of voices that you could use. And this particular cartridge wasn't made back in the day. This is much later on. I think this one's quite sought after because of this kick drum and snare. Very Electro. And that was a kind of Electro drum sounds that were being used, not just 808, right? And you can tune every drum, but per step. So even though you only get one tom, if you wanted a low, mid, high tom pattern, you just record it in, and then you could tune each drum individually in step mode, right? Every drum sound can also be reversed, and reversed, micro-tuned, and level changes per step. So not bad at all. Pretty good actually. Very useful even today. It's got MIDI. Reacts to, you can send MIDI clock, like I'm doing here. But you can't, at least I wasn't able to find out, as far as I can tell, you can't use it as a sound module and basically program up the drum sounds from your sequencer, which is a little strange to me, but you know, you can do that with a TR-909, for example. But you can't seem to do it with this, and as I recall, I think you can do it with the sequential drum tracks. So, you know, take what I'm saying there with a pinch of salt, but I wasn't able to get it to react to MIDI messages. I've tried all the MIDI channels, etc. But maybe in that video I'm linking to, maybe that reviewer has found out how to do it. So that's basically it. It was a 12-bit drum machine. The cartridges were very useful. You could get like different drum kits. Obviously a very popular one was the percussion one. And the really unique feature about it for the time, because usually back in that days, it was always a gotcha, you know? You could use the cartridge sounds as well as the internal sounds at the same time. Very good. Very classic, that kick drum and snare. Buttons are a little bit dodgy in this one. And that's just back into the internal sounds. Just quickly to mention, the sequential drum tracks, you could actually replace the EEPROM chips. This one gave you the cartridge option, but the drum tracks, you could replace the EEPROM chips as what holds the samples, and if you had the Oberheim EEPROMer machine, you could actually create your own samples, burn them onto this EEPROM, and load them into the sequential drum tracks, and I would imagine you can do the same with the Oberheim DMX drum machine as well. So that's basically it. So I'm going to let you hear this drum machine sort of dry, and then a processed version, and a sort of electro 80s vibe.